Welcome, people, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. It's another Sunday live stream on My Left Eye. I'm your host, Lefty, and a very warm welcome to everyone watching. And it said listening then. Okay, yeah, back once again, back in the lounge with Keith. Hedy and Octo, great to see you in the chat. Hope you're very good tonight. Keith's going to be featuring in one of the first stories coming up this evening. You might have noticed from the title, there have been some links between himself and the Central Intelligence Agency in the USA. Quite nefarious things going on there, shockingly. Oh, he's good as gold is our Keith. He wouldn't possibly get up to that kind of thing, would he? Kit, great to see you in the chat as well. Thanks for joining me to see out the week this Sunday. Hit those buttons, people. Let's get this stream reaching as many people as we can. If you're listening and you've not subscribed yet, please do hit the subscribe button. Join us in the chat. Is it Starmer in Faulty Towers? I don't know. It's definitely Starmer in dodgy dealings and nefarious goings on. But when he's flanked by the likes of Tony Blair and Peter Mandelson, who also feature in this scene provided by the Agitator, it's no wonder. Right, we will get cracking shortly. Just wait for the room to fill up a little more. So as usual, yeah, got articles, clips, that kind of thing to go through, stories. Want to hear your opinions as well. Let us know what you think about all the relative items in the chat as we go through. Also featuring on the show the latest from Gaza, as well as protests. Going to be touching on a few updates on some stories I mentioned on live streams during the week, just to round things off as well, where that's concerned. Also, according to a new poll, most people think that Farage bears the most weight of responsibility for the recent far-right riots. A few other stories as well, including a retraction / apology that's odd, slightly tongue-in-cheek retraction / apology nonetheless. But I said something about David Lammy on the last Brews at 10 live stream which was not true, and I'll be getting onto that as well. Yeah, it's a weekend stream, not a weekday stream, but if you've all got your brews lined up, be honest, I've got one here. This is a bit of a, bit of behind the scenes info for you regular viewers on the stream this evening. I do actually keep kettle in my little studio here, just in case. Can't be having to dart out of the room at a moment's notice. I've been thinking about getting some sort of intravenous system set up at some point. I'm still working on that. Intravenous? I don't know. Okay. Right, that's enough time in the lounge for now. I'll dive over to the first clip. I do have a comedy clip lined up. If you've not seen this one yet, it's fantastic. I really like this. Yeah, had a lot of fun watching this one when I saw it last night. It's Matt Green's latest one, and he's spelling out exactly what Twitter has become since Elon Musk took it over. He does a really great job about it, comparing it to a guy who buys a bar. He's a regular in the bar and decides he's going to buy it. But this is fantastic from Matt Green if you've not seen it yet.
I love drinking in this pub. In fact, I think I might be the best at drinking in this pub.
Cool.
So I've decided to buy it.
Buy what?
The pub. I love drinking. Everyone in here loves me.
I'm not sure everyone...
So why not buy the place? I can open it whenever I want, and more people will like me.
Have you ever run a pub before?
No, but I've got a car dealership and a fireworks shop. How hard can it be?
You've run out of beer again.
I sacked the guy who does the beer and gave that job to Brian.
The caretaker.
Yeah, sounds like I need to sack Brian too.
Also, the toilets are now covered in some pretty offensive graffiti.
Yeah, great, isn't it? I love people expressing themselves.
Some of it is pretty disparaging about you.
Brian, get some paint. I'm changing the name.
What's wrong with the pub? Kind of does what it says.
I'm changing it to the letter Y.
Why?
Exactly, it will get people talking, asking questions.
Why?
You got it.
I'm not sure that's going to catch on.
You'll see.
You're getting a lot of complaints about the people you invited back to the pub.
Why?
Well, because they're awful.
No, it's not called the pub, it's called Y.
Oh, right, yeah. But, I mean, the point is that the people who were barred before are now becoming a bit of a problem.
What, them? But they're all paid members of the owner of Y is Cool Club. I even gave them special badges. Yeah. I can't get rid of them. They add character.
They're kind of driving other people away.
That's fine. We'll bring in more people. I've got a Russian friend who reckons he's got hundreds of potential customers for me.
Real ones.
As long as they pay for their badges, who cares?
Oh, and a couple of local businesses have taken their posters down.
What?
From the notice board. They said they're uncomfortable about having them next to your memorabilia.
Tell them if they don't put them back up, I'll sue them.
For what?
I'll think of something. Get those posters back up. Oh, except for the drag show one. Get that one down. We're having a meeting that night instead.
A meeting? For who?
Let's just say we're also going to need a cross and some lighter fluid.
Oh, God.
Isn't this great? It's so relaxing and cool, and everyone here loves me.
You're losing a lot of money.
I can afford it. And anyway, money doesn't buy you love and respect.
Indeed.
Hey, where are you going?
Oh, I'm going to another pub. The one down the road.
But that place is full of squares, and the owner's a loser.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to leave this place behind. I've got some lovely memories, but I think I'm also less likely to get glassed.
Your loss? We're having a fireworks party tomorrow night and daring the police to shut us down.
Yeah, I actually heard some of the regulars talking about making Molotov cocktails.
And I'll be cheering them on.
What, you'll get stuck in?
I'll cheer them on from a distance, but they need to know that I'm on their side.
Why?
See, the name is catching on.
Brilliant takedown of Elon Musk there, right on the head. Matt Green, comedy.com. Do check his stuff out if you're not familiar with it. Sums it up perfectly for me. Yeah, I know I've still got an account on Twitter. Do check us out on Twitter, by the way. My Left Eye UK. But obviously I'm nonplussed with Musk's ownership of it. Here Tell is going to be trying to cover his losses with more selling off of Tesla stock as well. It's just not going very well, is it? That bit at the end where you hear the screaming in the background, and it just sums it up. What an absolute dumpster fire the place is at the moment. However, you know, there are still corners where people are still coming together in solidarity. Socialists on Socialist Sunday, like today, for example. Happy Socialist Sunday for those of you who follow it. And perhaps, hopefully soon, Musk will give up the ghost and let Twitter go. But he's so petulant and childlike. I can't see that happening in the near future. This could be, you know, the thing that brings him down. $44 billion. $44 billion he's paid for a company that the only time it has made a profit, made $1 billion. So he'd have to run it at the best profit it had ever had in history for 44 years straight just to break even. This is the sort of deficit we're talking about here. Of course, he only bought it out of a huff and a puff, and then he tried to retract it, but then apparently the lawyers said he couldn't. Right. And that's before we go into how he is obviously culpable in stirring up far-right hate. Do you remember what he said about what had happened to people who got arrested for rioting, that they'd be shipped off to the Falklands and all this other bullshit? Alright, so yeah, back to Keith, as I said, when we're in the lounge there, the first story I'm going to touch on, as per the title of tonight's stream. Apparently, Keir Starmer joined a secretive CIA-linked group while serving in Corbyn's shadow cabinet. He served on the Trilateral Commission alongside two former heads of the CIA without telling Corbyn, who would have blocked it. And this article comes from Declassified UK. Credit to them for this article. So there you see Starmer in the middle, with then US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and then US Ambassador to Britain Woody Johnson. This picture was taken in July 2020. Pompeo said in 2019, quote, "We will do our level best to stop Jeremy Corbyn getting elected." Now, do you need a bigger smoking gun than that, or need I go on? I'll be going on, regardless. So he joined in 2017, according to this Declassified investigation. That's about 2 years after he joined the party. Obviously, the 2019 election was a couple of years away from that. But what further proof do you need that Starmer was trying to throw Corbyn under a bus, that he was trying to derail Labour's campaign at the time, which was becoming increasingly successful? The establishment were getting very worried. The powers that be were getting very worried. Some very rich and influential people were getting very worried, as well as Israeli lobbyists. So Corbyn's only one of two serving British MPs to have been a member, according to available records. Do you want to have a guess at who the other one is? Anyone who's not familiar with the article? No cheating or spoiling. If you want to have a quick guess in the chat at who the other member was. But here it says clearly he spoke at the group's London event in 2017 alongside former heads of MI5. Just repeating that quote about trying to stop Corbyn. Corbyn's former spokesman told Declassified that Starmer's membership, quote, was plainly incompatible with Labour's then stated policies, which it clearly is a conflict of interest. That's James Schneider, by the way. You might have seen him recently on BBC panels, etc. So it was founded, the Trilateral Commission that is, in 1973 by David Rockefeller. Yeah, multi-billionaire. As a networking group for elites from the United States, Europe and Japan, Rockefeller was close to the leadership of the CIA at the time. Now, how's about that? And who said money buys you power? Unfortunately, Hedy, yeah, you are correct. It did work. And they did keep Corbyn out with a ridiculous anti-Semitism slur that was a scam, as well as a media backlash and a pile-on Corbyn. But these revelations are obviously, you know, too far down the line. We've had another term of government since all this happened. And now you see how Starmer has used this to further advance his own career. He's now become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I've known for a good many years now that this has been Starmer's intentions, his remit, his modus operandi. But it staggers me the amount of people who are walking around at the moment, members of the public, who are completely unaware of this kind of thing. And the mainstream media have buried this. You know, they've absolutely not taken an interest in this whatsoever. There's been the odd critique of him making U-turns here and there, that his policies now don't match what he was saying when he was Shadow Brexit Secretary under Corbyn, for example. But that's as far as it'll go. None of the mainstream media, the likes of, you know, Kussenberg, etc., are genuinely going to bring up the fact that his only reason for joining the Labour Party was to undermine it, and to undermine the leader specifically, which has now been brought to light by this declassified article. And that's why he pushed for the second referendum. He knew there'd be a public backlash against that. He knew it was a massive, you know, giving the Tories under Johnson a massive stick to beat Labour with at the time. So this is a further quote from James Schneider, Corbyn's spokesman at the time. Starmer didn't inform us that he was joining the Trilateral Commission while serving in the Shadow Cabinet. If he had, we would have put a stop to it like we did when he tried to take an inappropriate job outside with city law firm Miss Shonda Rhea while Shadow Brexit Secretary. Starmer was also, of course, part of the coup against Corbyn in 2017, when Corbyn then had to stand for leadership again and won by an even further margin. And for my money, at that point, Starmer should have just completely been excluded from the party. It's pretty obvious what he was doing. He joined to dump on Corbyn, and now he's the Prime Minister. When asked if he was surprised to discover that Starmer had joined the group without informing Corbyn's team, Schneider replied, "No, dishonesty is Keir Starmer's hallmark." And the answer to the little teaser I posed you earlier, there's the other British MP to have been in the group, Rory Stewart. Rory Stewart, what great company Keir Starmer is keeping. Good evening, Divinia. Hope you're well this evening. Thanks for jumping into the chat. Just a little bit more about the background of the Trilateral Commission here. I won't go through the full article. But David Rockefeller, who was chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank, I'm sure you've heard of them, was close to the CIA at the time. He set up the Trilateral Commission. Declassified files show him to be being invited in as a guest speaker to lecture the agency's staff in 1978, and he went into CIA headquarters to meet its director Stansfield Turner in 1980, so that's quite some time ago. As far back as 1958, Rockefeller had been exchanging letters with the CIA director Alan Dulles on strategy in the Cold War with Russia. Alan Dulles, yeah. Could go on about him, but that's completely separate matters. So that's David Petraeus, who was director of the CIA from 2011 to 2012. A short stint there, but he served with Keir Starmer on the commission. And look at this, Jeremy Corbyn had been on the radar of the CIA in the 1980s, I would imagine that would surround perhaps his support of Nelson Mandela at the time and against apartheid, South Africa in general. The agency declassified some files about Labour in 2017. Soon after he was elected leader. They were extensively covered by the British media and contained 2 specific references to Corbyn, who was a backbench Labour MP at the time. One file noted Corbyn's support in 1986 for an El Salvadorian trade union federation, which was linked to Marxist guerrillas during the country's civil war, while Americans backed the military government. Also, Corbyn was mentioned in a US diplomatic cable sent from Istanbul in 2002 and published by WikiLeaks. Free Assange, recently released, describing a protest in the city against the US push for war in Iraq, which embassy staff apparently monitored. Essentially, Americans knew he was a genuine socialist. They obviously, the states, want to have a massive influence on geopolitics and use as many nefarious methods as they can try. And this is just the latest example. This is disgusting, isn't it? Sorry, I know I've just been reading through the article, but I'd like to say I can't believe this, but I honestly can't. Have been aware about Starmer for a very long time. That's why I continue to speak out against him to this day. Von Nakarizer, welcome to the chat. Ahoy, ahoy to you. Ahoy, ahoy, sir. Or madam. I'm not sure what your pronouns are. And there he is, Henry Kissinger. Recently deceased Henry Kissinger. Who's been behind untold coups, military coups, election influencer for many decades. Not many corners of the world that haven't been touched by his dodgy goings-on. 2 current Tory MPs have also been funded by the Trilateral Commission. Get the smelling salts out, you'll all be completely shocked by this one. In November 2022, the organisation paid £2,230 for Sajid Javid, former Chancellor. That's a very £2,230. Mind you, that was probably just for a meal or something, wasn't it? And they said, oh, okay, we'll get this one. Former Chancellor under Johnson and his wife to attend a meeting in Athens. Oh, that was what it was for. In Greece. That's Athens in Greece, which is currently ablaze as a result of climate change. In case you got it confused with a different kind of a different Athens. Then in March this year, the group paid £381 for Alok Sharma, former Tory business secretary, to speak at its plenary meeting in New Delhi in India. £381. Again, strange amounts. That article's from Matt Kennard, Declassified UK. You probably recognise Matt from Double Down News videos as well. You'll have seen him on a few of those. He's a very good investigator. Speaks truth to power, of course. And I find his pieces particularly revelatory as well as well written. So, yeah, well done to Declassified UK there. Shocking, yet at the same time not. Why isn't this making BBC headlines? Why isn't this being preached by the mainstream press media either? Print press, I should say. Fuck's sake, Keith.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Alas, again, unfortunately not. That says it all about Keith for me. Back to the lounge. Yeah, fondue all round again. I'm sure it tastes a bit dodgy. Not as dodgy as this set of bastards you can see in this little scene here. Apart from the dog and the couple over by the fire. But Keith, Hodge, Blair, Mandelson. I think that's Lisa and Andy at the back. Not sure. Can't make it out. The dog's probably alright, of course. As always. Right, I'll see what else I've got lined up. I'll try and get this in some sort of linear order. What was it? Bear with me. Oh yeah, right, we'll go with this one next. Just very quickly, very fleetingly, as I said, I do, my tongue's in cheek here, do owe an apology. I have to make a retraction here on my left eye. Of course, I'll always own up where I've made mistakes. On a recent Brews at 10, I believe that was Friday's, I did say that David Lammy had been over to Israel. Let's just leave the lounge for now. That's enough. I did say that David Lammy had been over to Jerusalem to speak with Benjamin Netanyahu and get his latest instructions, perhaps do his latest deals on lobbying bribes, etc. Alas, alas, dear viewers, I am proven wrong on this occasion because, as this article will show, he refused to meet Lammy. Netanyahu refused to meet Lammy. They were apparently going to discuss the UK's position on the International Criminal Court. But Netanyahu didn't want any of it. So this ruling by the ICC that Israel is committing an occupation and a genocide. Initially, Labour were going to challenge this, but since retracted it owing to the weight of public opinion. This is a reason why we need to keep up protest. We need to keep using our voices in support of Palestine. It's been clear which way public opinion has been going on this, and obviously the general election results in terms of supporters of Palestine turning their backs on Labour are evident, speak for themselves as well. So that seems to have pissed off Netanyahu, who's obviously a purist. He's so fanatical, so far right, you can't even show any hint of sympathy for the Palestinian people, or likewise, you can't possibly not do what you're told to by the lobbies. And now that's left Lammy in a bit of a pickle, which I'll go on to in a sec. I just want to quickly say massive thank you to Hedy for those 5 gifted memberships. Thanks so much for that, brother. That's a great way of showing solidarity on the channel. So I hope you 5 all enjoy your perks. You get early viewings on videos, exclusive content, etc. So My Dogs Are Goth, John DeBrazen, Ezra Sprouts, Geoarchery, and Paul Smith. Hope you enjoy those perks if you're new to membership on the channel. Thanks once again for that, Hedy. I did actually omit the members list when I came on the stream. I will get to that after this article, I promise. Thanks for reminding me, Hedy. It was that Matt Green with his comedy. That's what did it. It was so funny. Made me forget. Okay, where was I? Yeah, that's left Lammy in a bit of a pickle now, you see. And this is the thing in politics. You can't please all the people all the time. He's obviously got to consider his position, i.e. his seat in Tottenham, which is who he's supposed to represent, even though apparently more than anything he wants to represent a Zionist far-right government from halfway across the world. But if he doesn't have his seat, if he becomes too unpopular with the public, then he can't be in that position to receive the money from the lobbies. But in accepting money from the lobbies and also leaning towards Israel, he massively upsets members of the public. And this is where he's at. This is where he's put himself. This is where he's left himself. So he didn't even have an appointment, apparently, when he showed up. He just thought he could jump on a plane to Jerusalem. They'll roll out the red carpet for him. You know, I'm here. Tell Benjamin I'm here. It's like, who are you? It's like, I'm David Lammy. Who? It's like, I'm the MP for Tottenham. And I'm, Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's like, well, are you expected? It's like, no. No, he's not expected. And then they showed him the door. And he's come halfway across the world, but he was told that they had a scheduling conflict. According to Channel 13 News, citing Israeli sources, the Israeli Prime Minister was angered by the new Labour government's recent decision to withdraw British objections to the ICC, deciding on issuing arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Defence Minister Yoav Gallant. Of course, Foreign Office source told Middle East Eye, sorry, should have given credit to Middle East Eye as well when I brought the article up, that there have been no plans for David Lammy to meet Netanyahu. So, wow, I know that who can you trust out of these sources here? Both have a reputation for talking bollocks, Lammy and Netanyahu. Does it really seem as though Netanyahu went halfway across the world without having made any plans whatsoever to meet up with him and just expected that he could, it's like, oh, come on, look at all these weapons that we're selling you still. Does that not buy you does that not fast track you into the VIP lane? Do you not get exclusive access because of that? I mean, just look at all the death and devastation that we've helped you out with our weapons. British aerospace. And so on. I mean, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall there and just see his face. The moment of rejection. I don't know how long it takes to fly to Israel from the UK. But I'm sure it's no short stint. He probably got a layover in there somewhere, perhaps. Only to be refused. Well done, Lammy. Well done. Well done. What is it, about 120 grand that we know of that he's received from Israel lobbies? So although I do owe an apology for saying that he had spoken to Netanyahu and speculated what they had been speaking about on the last live stream on Friday, turns out not to be the case. So Sorry, David, but also sorry, not sorry that you dragged your ass all the way there and back for nothing. Just finally on this, don't know what will happen going forward. Could this be that Netanyahu will expect some show of loyalty to reassure him that the lobbyist money is well spent and that the little lapdog will do whatever they say? Lammy's not the only one, of course. There are lots of other Labour MPs and cabinet members who are funded by Israel as well. That's going to be clear to see as we go through this term of government as well. And especially as things start to escalate in the Middle East. We'll be going on later to talk about the likelihood of the further spread of war, like all-out war, in the Middle East as well. There have been conflicting stories going around over the last couple of days. So, according to Biden, just quickly, the ceasefire talks are apparently going really well, even though Hamas have refused to attend the talks on account of Israel introducing 27 new measures that are supposed to be so ridiculous that they're almost obviously set to derail the talks, and that's why Hamas haven't even gone to them. So I don't know if Biden's missed that, why he thinks the talks are going so well, but on the other hand, read a report a day or two ago titled Middle East War set to start in 48 hours. So that could be due any minute now while we're on the stream. But which way is it going to go? Who knows? At the moment, unfortunately, it looks like leaning further towards escalation than it does peace. But that's what Netanyahu wants. He wants to perpetuate this. This is the only way he can save his political career, is to enter full-out war. Because even so many people in his own country want him to step down now. From their point of view, he was incompetent to allow the October 7th attacks to happen. They're also up in arms about the hostages not being released. There have been about half of the hostages released so far, but some 130, I believe, still remain. I'll be getting deeper into Palestine stuff just shortly, but I'll leave that article there for now. Let us know what you think about that one in the chat, though. David Laminates, me thrill, great to see you again. Hope you're very well, David Laminates. Yeah, he's a slippery fella. I did expect there'd be some backlash from Netanyahu over that decision. There always will be, but I'll leave that story there for now. A couple of other things to get into. And first of all, next of all even, we'll go on to this about Farage. We spoke on Friday a little bit about this conflict of interests and this £1 million plus that he's being paid by GB News. And Ofcom are nowhere to be seen. Still letting a sitting MP host a show. In the meantime, he's nowhere to be seen in Clacton. His constituents know him in name only. They've not seen him hanging around. But he's tried to deny this claim, even though the records are, you know, it's public knowledge. All of this. So he said, it was paid over 97 grand for a month's work. Okay, He's tried to say this doesn't add up, but he says, and you know it's bollocks because it starts with to be clear. To be clear, any time any politician usually says that is a pretty big red flag for me. The GB News sum paid to me and declared includes VAT and was for several months of work. It was paid to my company, which has significant expenses. Sorry to disappoint the media. I won't read through the rest. It turns out it's clearly on public record. That 97,000 was for 1 month's work, not several months' work. This thing about it going to his company, who he claims have, what does it say? Significant expenses. So Nigel Farage's company, what's it called now? Thorn in the Side, is it? Thorn in the Side Limited or something like that. It's obviously registered abroad. It also has only one registered employee. So where are these significant expenses going to, Nigel? Is it you? Are you the singular employee, perhaps? Could that be it? What a load of bullshit. So it adds up to 1.2 million, about 1.2 million. Which is higher than what he's paid from British taxpayer money to represent the constituents of Clacton, which he doesn't seem to give a dusty fuck about. He's also declared income of £4 a month for writing for the Daily Tory Graph and a payment of £16,600 roughly for recording personalised video messages such as birthday greetings for individuals through the cameo.com website. I've seen one of those where he was coerced, tricked into giving a cameo to the IRA as well. Have you seen that one? They got him to say up the Ra. That's probably the only one worth watching. Oh, there was another one. What was it? Hugh Janus. They got him to they got him to say happy birthday to a Hugh Janus. So how much did he make from Cameo? £16,600. Bloody hell. 1,500 quid from X and £8,500 from Meta, which owns Facebook. Will that be for running ads on his social media pages or something? But it's clear to all that the least of his worries, his least of his interests is serving his constituents. That's for sure. What a piece of crap. Did I have something else lined up relative to that? Oh, of course. That leads me on nice segue style to this next article about who's responsible for the riots. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. This comes from Huffington Post. Half, or over half, just over half of the country believes he's responsible for the riots, and I dare say they're correct as well. Why hasn't he been arrested yet for inciting these riots? I'd love to see him arrested and sentenced to longer than climate protesters have been sentenced to recently, as you can see this picture from the riots the other week. So this poll is from Savanta, and it shows that 51% of the public blame the Reform UK leader for the disorder, which led to hundreds of arrests and tough prison sentences for some of those involved. Second in line was Stephen Yaxley Lennon, aka Tommy Robinson, who's blamed by 54% of those polled. Elon Musk, was next. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, it says Farage has faced a storm of criticism over a video he posted within hours of the killing of 3 young girls attending a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in Southport. In it, he suggested, quote, "The truth is being withheld from us," unquote, by the police, and repeated misinformation that the alleged killer was being watched by the security services. He's since admitted that he was repeating false claims made by social media, by, among others, Andrew Tate, another complete piece of crap. Now, therefore, then he's incriminated himself. He's incriminated himself. Why does what applies to other people who posted things on social media not apply to Nigel Farage? Just over half said that Starmer had done well during the crisis, 38% saying he did badly. I think he did a crap, awful job. You know, instead of talking about it like, I don't know, a fight after a football match that had gone wrong, he barely spoke out against racism, which was obviously the motivation for the far right with these riots. Just pure racist thuggery. And he did use the words like thuggery have been thrown around, but he's not done anywhere enough to support those minority communities that were threatened. So yeah. If they can be arrested, then so should he. But now he has this extra layer of protection from being an MP as well, you know. What a world, what a system. Is this justice? Let us know what you think in the chat. Just nip back to the lounge for a moment. Bear with me while I line up the next clips and articles. Also, while I'm doing so, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're watching live. Okay, onward we go. Shazbab, thanks for joining us in the chat as well tonight. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming back. Great to see you again. Davinia, you'd like to know if that's my dog in the picture. It is, alas, not my dog. I just want someone to get him out of there. That's not a healthy home for a dog to be in. He's just another innocent victim in Starmer's schemes here. Poor dog. I am very fond of dogs. alas, this dog in question is not mine. There is a running theme of the dog in some of these scenes, settings that the agitator sets up as well. There used to be, you know, there was a running theme to some of them where there was a dystopian setting with Keith stood there and the dog, and in some cases, shall we say, the dog was wiping its posterior on the floor as well. But do check out the agitator's content on Twitter if you don't follow him already. He's also a fantastic guy. Last time I saw him in person was at a Tory conference when we were protesting the Tory conference, that is, together. Yeah, and asked if it was okay to put stuff on the channel, and he said he was fine with it. But Agitate 4, that's the number 4. Agitate for Change is his Twitter handle. Do check it out. Right, I'll move on now. There's a bit to get through. You might have come across this video on your social media. Taken from Regent Park Cafe. And I'll just give you a bit of background here. So a small group of people who I think had just been to a ceasefire demo, pro-Palestine demo, or perhaps on the way to one, whatever, stopped by Regent Park Cafe, where close by, unbeknownst to them, there was going to be a production of an outdoor production of Fiddler on the Roof, I believe. And the people who were running the production were in the cafe and immediately set upon this small group of people, which included a kid, you know, of about 11, 12 years of age. And they're just absolute, oh my God. The reaction from them, it's awful. And it's just kind of atypical of what you get from Zionists. Just awful people. I'll show you the clip and I'll sort of throw a few 2 cents in as we go through. Right, thank you, Keith. That's enough fondue for now.
Get your camera down!
On Monday the 5th of August, a group of people went to a cafe in Regent's Park for some refreshments. What happened next made national news.
Palestinian protesters have been accused of anti-Semitism. This was a demonstration at a performance last night in London of Fiddler on the Roof.
We were going into the cafe just to get some drinks and stuff, like to chill out.
We came with my friends into this cafe. We just wanted ice cream and coffee. We joined the queue. As soon as we joined the queue, we saw a group of people, elderly people, very angry, asking us to leave, to get out. They were very, very, very rude, very threatening.
All right, just ignore them. Leave it, leave it. Oh my God. Why are you there?
First of all, they're just straight up acting like they own the place, and the language being used, I mean, you saw some excerpts from that bit at the beginning, calling them pigs, telling them to fuck off, and that, you know, it's appalling. It's appalling. It goes on. There's more to this. But how reactionary is this? They're just queuing up to get some ice cream and a drink, and there's a kid there. For goodness sake, what's wrong with these people?
Why are you here? What makes you think you've got the right to tell other people where they're allowed to be?
And there's a couple of women kind of holding him back, and he was kind of getting out of their grips and sort of, you know, pulling his arms out. And I was quite alarmed and worried. He just continued to shout, and the women were shouting at us who were with him. And they were shouting at us to go, to leave.
Get your camera down!
One of the women asked me why I was filming, put your phone down, and then she called me dirtbag, animals. We were called pigs. One of the men went to my friend, she's Somalian. He went up to her and said, "Look at your face."
We had a black girl with us, and the man went up to her and said, "Look at your face, you're disgusting." So they were racists.
So to get a full picture, I went to the cafe myself to speak with members of staff who were on duty that day.
This is where the people with the Palestinian flags came from. So when a customer come in, they just queue up here. Other people were sitting down there, sitting area. They were having their food. So when they saw the flags, they just came here aggravatically and started, you know, arguing.
Who would you say was the aggravator and causing the trouble here?
Yeah, there was a old man, which was he was so aggressive towards one of my other manager as well. That's why we were forced to call the police.
I went over to one of the guys and I just said, like, obviously it's a restaurant, so I'd rather you take this outside type of thing. And he started to get rather aggressive with me. And then in the end, I asked the police to come and remove him. To be honest, it seemed more like they were the aggressors. The guys with the Palestine flags, they just came in. They were just peaceful. They were just going about their way. And I think people just didn't like the fact that they had the Palestine flags in there.
From what you saw, did they come in to buy drinks and ice creams, or did they come in to protest?
Oh no, they were in the line. They were coming to buy things. They did not. To me, it didn't seem like they were protesting at all. They had their flags. They were carrying their flags, but they came to buy stuff.
The accusing group claimed that the people were there to protest against Fiddler on the Roof, which was about to play at the local park theatre.
She said, "You know what's happening today, you know it's our screening today." And I was like, "What screening?"
We had no idea about Fiddler on the Roof. I don't even know this musical or film. I really feel it was, you know, a lot of hatred. I think racism as well.
Now, Fiddler on the Roof is a story about my forebears, my ancestors, because I'm a Russian Jew, one half of my family. So that's a film about Tsarist Russia and Jews there at that time.
Why are you here? Why are you here? You shot the animal! You put the
Journalist Emma Guinness of The Independent then wrote a very damning article of the whole affair, as did GB News, the Jewish Chronicle and other media outlets.
I noticed that article spoke all the way through from the perspective entirely of the people who assaulted us. A newspaper like The Independent should know better than to just spew out that very reactive, inflammatory interpretation of events.
And we were with a kid as well, 11 years old. We just wanted ice cream. And then our faces are all over Twitter. We're even in The Independent, calling us Jew haters on GB News, I believe. You know, anti-Semitic. It's disgusting, really.
The people who went there are quite simply Jew haters. They went there in order to stir up aggravation and for no other reason. This has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with anti-Semitism.
I don't know who that complete and utter shite hawk is, but he shouldn't be given any platform whatsoever. This is just pure lies, which is all you can come to expect from the like of GBBs.
Not only have the group been labelled as anti-Semitic, one of them has been doxxed and his personal and professional life negatively impacted.
From being verbally assaulted to having your personal business life threatened, they do go in and get people sacked and make sure people lose work. They do all sorts of things, and that's one of the threats they hold over us.
This is why one of the contributors has hidden her identity.
We're just wanting ice cream, and it took a really dark turn. And I'm the person who was filming, because I knew that our faces would be all over Twitter, because they've done that before. And yeah, they accuse us of doing a protest, protesting a film or a musical we had no idea about.
This event has not only negatively impacted those directly attacked and doxxed, but also the children present.
They're being very aggressive and abusive. They call us anti-Semitic.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel pretty distressed and like scared because I didn't know what they were gonna do.
Emma Guinness, The Independent, GB News, Jewish Chronicle, do you have anything to say on this matter? Perhaps a new article or an apology would be prudent.
So that's from Migration Films as well, yeah. Calling out the mainstream media there. What a gutter press we've got here in the UK. It's utterly appalling. It's utterly appalling. And in front of kids as well. And that could likely be that kid's first experience with protest. But at least now he knows the kind of people that he's protesting against. You know, the attitude of Zionists and this disgusting racism. Those comments about the Somalian lady's face, where they said it was disgusting, that older fella there in the little pack of him, you know. I'm not one to throw insults based on people's looks too often here on My Left Eye, but he's not all painting himself. That's just disgusting racism. What an absolute gammon. Brett James, welcome to the chat. Patria Evida. Nice to see you too. Hope you're well this evening. That does remind me also, I didn't get round to doing the shout out to the members on the channel. So yeah, a very warm welcome back to members old and new here on My Left Eye. Thanks again to Hedy for those 5 gifted memberships. Awesome way of showing solidarity on the channel. Yeah, so if you'd like to join that list of incredible people, you can do so for just 99p. Find out some of the perks by hitting the join button. I will update that list for the next live stream and videos. And I'm going to stick on the topic of Palestine and Gaza now, as I move on to Donald Trump's campaign, where he's recently been standing not just in front of the Stars and Stripes, he's also been standing in front of the Israeli flag as well, and there have been some quite revelatory moments, shall we say, in his streams. No, the stream's not ending, Divinia. I just forgot to give a shout out to the members earlier, so can never be too thankful to the members. No, we've still got more to get through here on the Sunday stream. Do stick with me. Well, I'll just go straight into the clip with this one. We all know who Donald Trump is. We all know what he's about. We all know that should he be elected once again, this isn't good news for Palestine. But he's just totally putting it out there. He's not even trying to hide it, as you're going to see from these clips. So I'm just keeping an eye on the chat as well. Hey, Becca. Oh, sorry, you're saying you've got to be right back. Well, we'll see you back soon in a bit, Becca. Hope you're well tonight as well, Brett James. Great to see you back.
I'm president. We will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone.
Does he mean pro-ceasefire demonstrators? Does he mean anybody who stands with Palestine? Is he trying to make that association? You know, is he trying to blur the lines there? This is the same guy who banned Muslims from entering the United States. I'm not so sure we can take this as an empty veiled threat. And you can't assume that this doesn't also include protesters in what he's saying here.
If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country.
This is an election campaign, Donald Trump. This is an election campaign. Why are you standing on a stage on what's supposed to be an election campaign for your country in the United States of America with a foreign country's flag behind you? What country are they voting in? Is it the United States or is it Israel? Do you want any clearer example, any clearer evidence of the interests that he wants to represent if he's elected? Unbelievable.
We don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip.
What a... Oh, God. So you send money and weapons to a country, in this case Israel. They impose a collective occupation and a genocide. Collective punishment, I should say. An occupation and a genocide on another country, and you refuse to take in any refugees from that other country. You made those refugees. The United States of America made those refugees. And now you won't take any in to try and win some far-right votes. Trumpty Dumpty, yeah. That's just so inhuman, so foul, so dystopian.
And we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country.
They vandalise. You've never incited anyone to vandalise federal property before, have you, Donald? How can a country have such a short memory as to forget that insurrection? And how deluded are his followers, or the hardcore followers of Donald Trump, not to have seen what he's about? What is with these people? What is with this country? And in this next clip, which was taken from the crowd at one of these rallies, he just spells out what the financial interests of America really are, where Israel lobbies are concerned. Have a look at this.
If you say, let's say 15 years ago, maybe not even that long, anything bad about Israel or Jewish people, you were finished as a politician, right? You were finished. You wouldn't do that, Congressman. You wouldn't do it anyway, but nobody would do it. The most powerful lobby in this country, by far, was Israel and Jewish people. Today, it's almost like, what happened?
There's not enough lobbying happening, according to him, at the moment. I'm no fan of Kamala Harris either. I'm critical of both of them here on My Left Eye. This is just the latest example coming from Trump. But things don't look great. Things don't look great either way, whoever wins that election. So the latest from Gaza in terms of attacks. Unfortunately, last night we saw, it's not unfortunate, it's unfortunate's the wrong word, very cruelly, Israel attacked again last night, killing 24 people. This is a little excerpt from Sky News report on that.
And an update coming into us from Gaza is that 24 people are now reported to have been killed in that Israeli airstrike overnight in Gaza, including, of course, the mother with her 6 children. There have been several airstrikes across Gaza conducted by Israel and throughout the day yesterday, including in southern Lebanon, of course. But the latest figure from that particular airstrike in Gaza, multiple airstrikes in Gaza, 24 people killed and
murdered. They were murdered. Murdered by Israel. At least they've started to use the word killed instead of died. That's a small amount of progress, at least. Remember, it always used to be that Palestinians died, but Israelis were killed in news reports.
among them a mother and her 6 children.
Disgusting. Disgusting. And earlier this week, we saw over 100 people killed in a strike on a school, drone strike, missile strike on a school. That's just the latest. You can see from this footage here, finally the United Nations have been allowed to go in and assess things. There's been a lot of cases where UN assessors have been denied entry into Gaza. They took this footage, which sums it up in terms of the level of destruction and how so much of Gaza has simply been razed to the ground. And look at this, as far as you can see, as far as the eye can see, devastation, destruction, homes, schools, hospitals, universities, recreational areas, everything destroyed. I want you to join me in a little thought experiment here as we watch this video, dear viewers. I want you to imagine this is your neighbourhood. I want you to imagine you go away for a few days, wherever, on a local holiday, come back, and this is the scene that you're presented with. It's so bad that it's hard to tell where streets used to be, where roads used to be. Imagine if this was your neighbourhood, your town, your city, wherever you live. No wonder they've been trying to keep the United Nations out. This is the reason why so many journalists are being targeted as well. 160 journalists at least have been killed. They don't want the truth to get out there. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. It's something that shouldn't exist in the 21st century. We've got to have peace now. We've got to have a ceasefire now. This occupation has got to stop, and Israel really need holding to account for their war crimes, of which there are a litany. These are happening daily, as I said. And I'll just play through that again as I go on and check out some of your comments in the chat. I agree there, Divinia. They could be moving on to Lebanon next. We're already seeing exchanges of fire. It could be a matter of days before this escalates if something isn't done. For Israel to turn round to the UK and France and say that if they go into all-out war with Iran, that they'll expect us and France to back them, just shows the sheer hubris. Who's calling the shots here? Is the tail wagging the dog? What's going on? Of course, we know what's going on. Rhetorical question there, of course. So they're all geared up for full on war with Iran. There's also Lebanon being brought into this. Obviously, strikes on Lebanon from Israel and vice versa. Iraq have also been brought into this. I don't have any confidence in the latest round of peace talks, like I said earlier. This is what Netanyahu wants. This is how far extremists will go to save their careers. This is how far fanatics will go to protect their twisted, warped, racist ideology. I've seen similar videos of aerial shots from drones where it goes as far as the horizon. There are no safe zones left. There are no safe zones left in Gaza. Not a one. Not a one. Any that Israel will try and pretend are safe zones will be attacked, whether it be a refugee camp, whether it be a convoy of people, a convoy of aid. They will go so far. They think there are no rules. And even Netanyahu himself has got in front of a lectern, in front of cameras, in front of the international community, and said that he doesn't care what courts think. They don't think there are any rules now. They think that the fact that there are 130 hostages that were taken by Hamas is their absolute, what's the word I'm looking for? The magic bullet, as it were, for want of a better phrase. That nobody can deny what they're doing based on these 130 hostages. Meanwhile, there are over 5,000 hostages in Israeli prisons that they've taken and held without charge. Ridiculous. Netanyahu should be in jail, but people are joining together across the world and showing that they won't stand for it. So I'm just going to go on to a few examples of that from around the world that have happened recently. If you've been with me since the start of the stream, you will have noticed a clip at the beginning there. That was from a recent demonstration in Spain. I will quickly show you that one again before I show you a couple of other examples. But this mass of people and all bouncing up and down in unison and chanting in support of Palestine is quite something. Worth another watch, I think. I mean, look, that's thousands there, thousands. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not exactly sure which part of Spain this comes from. If you're familiar with this clip and you do know, please do let me know. Vicky, great to see you in the chat again. Hope you're well today. That was from Spain. That's great stuff. There was another wonderful demo in Oslo as well. This is what happened there.
Any questions?
Come on, people, let's see those Palestine flags in the chat. For those of you members, use your static emojis there. Come on, let's show solidarity. Viva Viva Palestina.
Free Palestine.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Davinia. Come on, people, let's see those flags. Just a small gesture of solidarity, of course, but very fundamentally important in showing that we are all behind Palestine 100% all of the time. We'll continue to support Palestine. Here on my left eye, thanks a lot for throwing up those flags in the live chat. Brett, Vicky, Hev, Octo, sorry you can't find yours. I will wave one on your behalf and on my behalf as well. There we go. Okay. Solidarity. Solidarity. And of course, another way you can show solidarity is with boycotts as well. I'll be touching on that very shortly before I show you another example of a demonstration in Göteborg, do apologise, which is in Sweden. So massive support coming from the Scandinavian countries, as you can see, that one from Oslo in Norway. This is Göteborg, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, apologies if not, in Sweden. Yeah, just Oslo in Norway, Göteborg is in Sweden, just for clarity. Obviously, McDonald's is one of the companies people are boycotting in support of Palestine as well. They notoriously were giving out free meals to members of the IDF as well. McDonald's, shame on you. Your hands are bloodied too. Yeah, absolutely. It's overpriced crap, you're quite right. Davinia. Dolores. Caliborn, thanks for joining us in the chat. You go Norway, I'll go mine. Yeah, exactly. Isn't Norway rated as the happiest country in the world? I think it's also rated as the most developed country in the world, according to international indexes, etc. I've never been there myself, personally. Well done to that demonstration there for calling out McDonald's. Recently as well, Starbucks have changed their senior management due to a dip in sales. A lot of that is down to boycotts around Palestine. So many companies. I've done previous content on long format videos. If you do want to check that out, please do. Another reminder just to hit the thumbs up button as well and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content on the stream. So another company that's, well, what's the best way to put it, that's aiding and abetting directly this genocide and this occupation is international freight company Maersk. So I'm going to take you onto a clip that tells you exactly what Maersk have, the sort of part that they have to play in all of this, as well as how you can boycott them as well.
The world's second largest shipping company, Maersk, has had its hands full in...
This comes from Labour on the Line. I should point out credit to Labour on the Line for putting this video together.
The Red Sea over the last 8 months. That's because the Yemeni army, acting in solidarity with the Palestinian people, has refused to let any ships linked to Israel cross the Red Sea. That includes Maersk, who has shipped over $300 million worth of weapons to Israel since October. But it should also be worried about a different type of conflict unfolding on East Coast docks with the workers who make the whole operation possible. 45,000 dock workers on East and Gulf Coast ports are unionized with the International Longshoremen's Association, or the ILA, and they are currently in contract negotiations with the U.S. Maritime Alliance, or USMX, basically the group of major shipping companies, which includes Maersk. Even if you've never met a dock worker, they touch your life every day. These workers are responsible for the loading and unloading of massive cargo ships day in and day out. In 2023, nearly 70% of all goods traded by the US moved by water. The last time these workers struck was in 1977, and its impacts were immediately felt across the entire country. The negotiations have already been heated, especially around the issue of automation in ports replacing union dock workers. Harold Daggett, the current president of the ILA, has been saying for months now that membership should be ready to strike all ports up and down the coast if they don't have a new contract by September 30th, when the current one expires. But then came the spark. ILA discovered that Maersk and APM terminals have been using automated gating technology in direct violation of their contract at the port of Mobile, Alabama, and suspected use at additional ports. They immediately canceled all master contract negotiations with USMX, saying there's no point continuing to negotiate a new contract if one of USMX's major companies refuses to honor the current agreement. Now, Maersk has essentially torpedoed negotiations between USMX and ILA, setting the stage for a massive strike disrupting global shipping patterns if Maersk doesn't change course. All while screwing over dock workers by threatening their jobs, Maersk has become a central target of another campaign. The Palestinian Youth Movement, or PYM, a leading organization of the global Palestine Solidarity Movement, has recently launched the Mask Off Maersk campaign, calling for a global boycott against the company. Maersk is one of the largest profiteers benefiting from the Israeli genocide in Gaza, again shipping over $300 million in weapons components for the top 5 weapons manufacturers from the US to Israel since October. Maersk is a critical link in the weapons supply chain, and PYM has identified the campaign to pressure Maersk as a central strategic target of the Solidarity Movement. The combined crisis for Maersk may prove too much to resist. We can all remember how Starbucks caved when facing the combined crisis of the growing union drive by Workers United and the pro-Palestine boycott, especially across the Arab world. Caught between the fires of union dock workers demanding job security and the popular mass movement demanding justice for Palestine, Maersk will be feeling the heat. This harkens back to the alliance of the ILWU with the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa that contributed to the fall of the apartheid regime, and points to the possibility of new alliances like this forming today. People's movements often find that we have a common enemy, and right now, dock workers and the pro-Palestine movement are finding a common enemy in Maersk. If they don't give in, the combined pressure from ILA and the movement for Palestine may sink their profits until they concede.
So it is possible. Boycotts do work. The example of Starbucks was brought up there again, and there's lots of other products as well. Collective people power really is a truly amazing thing and can make some serious changes for the positive, for the better in society. So please, if you're aware of any company, albeit whether it's a product or a shipping company or anything that aids and abets this destruction that's happening in Israel, do your level best to avoid those products and encourage others to do the same as well. Just having a quick look at your comments as well. Davinia, yeah, going back to the McDonald's boycott. There was a GP surgery who left a burger and fries on the counter, and 18 months later they hadn't gone mouldy or anything. I heard about the, was it in a museum, where they put some McDonald's fries and they didn't perish at all, mostly down to a lack of moisture, I believe, in the fries themselves. Do you want to put that in your body? Like, really? Sorry about, yeah, the volume on the background music there, Vicky. Couldn't really be helped. That's just how it comes through on the clip. I also have to be particularly wary of that myself, because I'm taking the risk that it might be copyrighted music, so you never know. Actually, speaking of which, just a quick channel update before we go on. I do have this continuing, recurring thing that's happening, whereby the episodes of live streams come under review by YouTube for a while. I have to request a manual review. Most of the time, the videos turn out to be okay. However, whilst that manual review is ongoing, you're not allowed to earn from ads on YouTube. I don't put any ads on during the live stream. While it's on, there are, however, ads if you're watching back on a replay. And I believe what's happening is that my views, while the review's going on, doesn't count as well. So that's giving me lower views on the channel as well. It's something I'm trying to look into. It's just an ongoing situation with the channel. Yeah, Davinia, if there was an ad when you came on the live stream, I think the sort of review period kicks in a short time after the stream itself finishes, and then it normally takes a day or two after I request the review. Yeah, but during that period, while it's under review, I'm not sure if the views count and everything. There's an inconsistency between how many views it's telling me that I get in one part of the stats compared to another part of the stats, and I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of it. But you're awesome people for being here and sticking with me here on live streams on My Left Eye. Let's nip back to the lounge. And speaking of support, let's give another shout out to the members. As I start to bring things to a close on the stream tonight. Yeah, I'm back now, guys. Yeah, I was just talking about ad revenue, etc. on the channel. Won't bore you with the deets. Yeah, it is very 70s. I do love this. I do love this. The Agitators, brilliant, brilliant. Well, that's what it's going for. Keith's Fondue. Oh, come and join me. Israel does have that right. So that's just about all from me and Keith's Fondue Lounge on the Sunday live stream. I'll be back during the week, of course, with the brews at 10. Like to join you a few times a week there. I'll be back next Sunday with a Sunday live stream. Hopefully going to have more long play video content out this week as well. I know I've not put a vid out for a week or two. Just trying to stay on top of doing that. But his father was a fondue maker, yeah, Hev. His father was a fondue chef. And his mother nursed minor burn injuries from hot fondue as a job in the NHS. Yeah, so hopefully I'll see you on a brews at 10 during the week. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the content I'll be posting in the community to remind you about what's coming up as well. So a very warm thank you to you all for joining me this evening. I've been your host Lefty. You've been wonderful. Take care everybody, and my left eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night. Oh yeah, if you're still here. Sorry, I'm still here. One sec. I didn't mention about the raid. I'm going to try and raid into Helena at No Justice. Stay put, everybody. I'm not sure if Helena's on. I'm just going to check now. Ah, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. She might be on later, so do keep an eye out for Helena at No Justice, or Kevin Logan as well. But that's definitely it from me. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'll be seeing you soon.